So the only two upcoming games that we're interested in are Riot's MMO and the Ashes of Creation. So let's see the World of Riot's MMO, which is already done, because at the end they've been creating the lore since alpha stages, and that was, I think, like 2010. Yeah. So they've been creating the world for the past 12 years. So let's see.
In the past, MMOs were regarded as the godfathers of games. They were the peak of what developers could accomplish. Even though, looking back, that's a fairly subjective thing to say.
Also we have old school RuneScape. Yeah, some veterans will be playing that still, you know? Some of the people are still playing it.
Everyone knew MMOs had the power to create cult following, but
Yep.
also everyone knew making MMOs was hard. On average, an MMO has to spend at least 6 years in the baking before it can get anywhere near being good.
Jesus.
But that didn't stop companies from jumping onto the bandwagon anyway. And soon we could see dozens of new MMOs, all releasing in 2008. All being called the WoW killers. Spoiler alert, none
Yeah, spoiler alert, the only WoW killer on the planet is WoW itself.
of them did that. And unfortunately, we can feel the ripple effects even now. It got to a point where every time a new MMO is announced, we all think the same thing. Oh. Anyway, when you're working on an MMO, you have to respect 3 pillars. Gameplay is king,
True.
social interactions matter,
True.
and the world setting is important.
Also true.
When Riot announced their MMO, it became clear that 2 of the pillars are being respected, and the third one is already done.
Riot, social interactions matter. Yeah, about that. Coming from League of Legends community, I'm not sure about social interactions, yeah. I'm not sure about social interactions. Yeah, in MMOs, the social interactions are a bit different. Everyone is friendly, everyone wants to be social, everyone wants to hang out. Well, the majority of the people, yeah. I mean, there are people who like to play the single player, you know, mode. But for the most part, you need to interact with people, you know, because that's an MMO. In MMOs, you need a party, you need a healer, you need a damage dealer, you need a tank. Basically, what we have in League of Legends 5v5s. So basically, that's what we have in MMO. But see social interactions. Social interactions. We're talking about Riot. Also, I've heard Valorant's community is also top notch. So yeah, let's see.
When it comes to the gameplay, it is currently in the hands of Ghostcrawler, someone who's been working on WoW during its best times,
True.
and someone who got a reputation for hating boomkins and loving mages. When it comes to the social interactions, it is a dance between the developers and the players. A dev can guide players towards social interactions.
Yep.
Or they
If you died, you need a party. You need to have some friends. You know, you need a healer, brother. That's where social interaction comes in.
can annihilate them. And after that, the players usually find their own fun inside the MMO. From that point on, the devs should do everything in their power to support the players having fun in.
Also, yeah, we shall not talk about the roleplay MMO shenanigans, especially of the Goldshire in the WoW. Yeah, what happens in Goldshire stays in Goldshire. This is the reason why I'm playing Horde, bro. Everyone needs to be killed in there, I'm just saying, yeah. And that's what we're doing with the boys. We're creating a group, and we're raiding the shit out of this village because, oh my god, what's happening in there. Do not Google what's happening there, yeah. For your own sake, do not Google what's happening in Goldshire.
Their own way. And finally, when it comes to the world of an MMO, in Riot's case, it's done. And it's been finished for quite a few years now.
Oh, really?
In fact, the world of Riot's MMO is in such a good state. They already have the continents, the zones, the cultures, and the races. And to a
Nice.
lesser degree, every zone already has its own storyline. Now, of course,
Obviously, that's Noxus, yeah? Like, look at that. Straight up evil. Straight up evil.
unless you follow the lore of League of Legends, you wouldn't know about this. And that's why I decided to make this video. I want to show you all the zones we are going to see in the MMO and what sorts of quests we are going to do there. So, for the purpose of this video, I will assume you have no idea what League of Legends is about.
It's all about jungle diff. Yeah, let's be real. It's all about jungle diff. When it comes down, what matters the most is jungle diff. Fucking change my mind. That's the basis of League of Legends. But yeah, when it comes down to lore, I've got fucking no idea about the lore. I know Ari is a fox that wants to kill people. That's it. She was a fox, now she's becoming human. That's it.
You have no idea what the universe is about, but
Nope.
you like MMOs,
Yes.
your hairline is receding, and you have a crippling fear of Nintendo 64 controllers.
About that hairline, yeah, let's not talk about it. Controllers, yeah, that's a hit towards Asmongold, yeah.
To which, I might add, why do you think I'm wearing hats? But now,
That's fine.
without further ado, let's have a look at all the zones in Riot's MMO.
I need to buy a hat, yeah. Shifu needs a hat. I'm getting older.
This is Runeterra, the world of League of Legends. Right now, the world is separated into 10 main regions. But these 10 regions don't cover all the land on the map, so there are...
Gee, look at the size of Noxus, brother!
These 10 regions
Demacia small?
don't cover all the
Giga Chad Noxus, Jesus Christ.
land on the map, so there are some mini-zones in between them. And the lore already revealed that there is gonna be another continent further to the east. That definitely sounds like a future expansion to me.
That sounds like Game of Thrones, brother. That sounds like Game of Thrones. We have the current map, we have the massive map, where the entire show is taking the place, where the entire story is taking the place. But also we have beyond the Narrow Sea, we have a lot of shit to the right. Yeah, to the right, yeah.
In fact, it would be foolish to release all of these regions at launch.
Yep.
You can easily turn half of these into
DLCs.
separate expansions.
Yep.
And because a lot of people already know and love these regions, the hype behind these expansions would be big.
True.
With that said, I know a lot of
Except for Ionia, yeah, because you Inting brothers are from there, Nerfarelia is from there.
you would like to play as Shrimans or Ionians.
No,
and now you
fuck
may
Ionia.
be cursing me for suggesting that these would be expansions. But the lore can justify giving you these nations as playable races without having their regions. I'll
How?
show you how Riot can pull this off in a bit. First, let's talk about the regions Riot's MMO has to start with. The Northern Continent.
Yeah, the basic map, yeah, the biggest part that has the main shenanigans, Demacia, Noxus, and Elfjord. Literally the center of the storyline, I imagine.
This entire continent is called Valoran. Not Valorant, Valoran. And this
Someone in the Valorant team got promoted for that. Boys, we need a new name for a shooting game. How about T? How about Valorant? How about Valorant T? Valorant. Easy promotion.
is where the absolute core of this world is. The two main regions here are Demacia and Noxus. They are the
Giga
two
Chaz.
big rivals equivalent to the Horde and the Alliance.
Makes sense.
While I would like to say that Demacia is your classic normie human region,
What about Freljord though? This is the question I have. What about Freljord? Because yeah, in the World of Warcraft, we have two factions here. Yeah, we have Alliance, 5 people in here. Well, 5 races for now, and 5 races in the Horde. You know, 2 different sides. So basically, we call this the good guys, the bad guys. Well, at least that's a stereotype. Look at this here. They're definitely a bad guy. But the idea is, what about the Freljord?
it's not really true. Runeterra doesn't really have a normal place. There is something cool happening in every region. And
Okay.
Demacia has racism. Okay, maybe not racism, because
Swear to God, I swear to God, 95% of League player base will go fucking Demacia. if the League of Legends community will be playing this game, that's League of Legends community. Oh my God, love it.
Demacia doesn't mind Yordles or Minotaurs, but they really hate mages. That's because in the past, their rivals almost annihilated half of the world using magic. And so, Demacia was built inside a magic-absorbing forest. Therefore, Demacia is a really cool place where you can hide from magic. When it comes to the visuals of the zone, you can see a lot of lush fields, it is surrounded by mountains,
Looks
but
nice.
the iconic part of Demacia are the buildings. They are made of petricite, which is a combination of stone and the magic-absorbing wood. Because these ancient magic-absorbing trees were grey, all the buildings have a marble-like appearance. And yes, given what material they are using, all the buildings in Demacia also absorb magic. So
Okay.
should a mage visit this region, let's just say it's gonna be a painful experience. On top of this, let's not forget that Demacians can weaponize petricite. They can turn it into petricite steel, which gives you your classic anti-magic weapons, and you can sculpt petricite constructs which wake up after absorbing magic. Simply said, these guys just really don't like magic. The irony is, they've been absorbing it for years now. And this is where the story would kick in.
The question is, what happened to that absorbed magic? Where did it go? Someone has to use it.
You see, the Demacians are so afraid of magic, they founded the Mage Seeker Order. This is an order of people who hunt mages, they throw them into prison, and they torture them until their body gives up on magic. So
Lux uses the magic restore. Yeah, makes sense, but here comes a bit of a hypocrisy. She's from the royal line, no? No, G4 is the king. Yeah, G4 is the king. Demacia, so Garen and Lux, brother and sister. Well, I mean, they're also in the top echelon, no?
yes, being a mage is a crime in Demacia. The thing is, people still get naturally born with magical abilities. You can't stop it from happening. So not only are there mages hiding in the royal court, right now there is a mage civil war happening in Demacia, where mages and people who don't hate mages rise up to fight for moral rights. So should we do some quests in this zone? This is gonna be the core story.
Oh, this is gonna be
Mages
so
trying to
nice.
overthrow racist leadership following old laws. So the main enemy NPCs might be mages and witches. But I know what you're thinking now, and don't worry. There will be plenty of boars to kill here too.
Nice.
Or at least there are loads of wolves here, as well as stags.
No. In the green zones, yeah, I'm coming from the MMO. In the green zones, you always have to kill boars, yeah. You can insert the South Park meme, yeah. We kill boars, brother. We kill boars. That's it. Win the game.
Can't forget the iconic Demacian raptors. But further to the south, we might find some crag beasts, tiny woolly elephants,
Aww,
and yes,
so
of
cute.
course in the Argent Mountains there are also dragons.
Oh, he
Loads
did.
and loads of dragons.
Was that Shyvana? Yeah, I feel like that was Shyvana.
Of course,
Yep, that's Shyvana's performance.
dragons. But that's about it for Demacia. Fun fact, the capital city of Demacia is called the Great City of Demacia.
Swear to God, this city was also named by the same marketing guy who created Valorant. Promotion number 2, not bad.
Sounds dumb, but Runeterra was not the first one to come up with this. But thankfully the
True
other
that,
regions are a bit more creative with their names. So now, let's move away from the normie region and let's have a look at the badass region.
Ah, there we go, my
Noxus.
region.
If you're planning on playing a warrior with oversized weapons and overcompensating lush hair, this is the region for you.
Bro, I feel like he's roasting Asmongold so badly in here. But then fuck the warriors, I need the mage, because LeBlanc, yeah, LeBlanc is from Noxus, yeah, we need that.
This place actually has a long and badass history, but we really don't have the time to explain it now. So just know that originally it was built by the most badass warrior in the history of Runeterra.
Brazil.
This motherfucker literally died on a mountain of corpses. And
Brazil.
after he died, he was too angry to stay dead, so he just became the god of the underworld.
Simple
When
as
this guy lived, he built the Immortal Bastion, which is to this day the largest structure on the entirety of Runeterra.
Jesus.
And currently he is banished underneath the Immortal Bastion, but only a few people know about it. So you know, that's a future raid boss.
Yeah, for sure, that's a
Anyway,
raid boss.
the Immortal Bastion is the capital city of the Noxian Empire, with Noxus being one of the most brutal nations in Runeterra. It is brutal because the nation is surrounded by rocky earth. It is hard to grow plants here. So Noxians are forced into conquering surrounding land for resources to survive. That's
sense.
why when you go to the map you can notice that the Noxian territory is all over the place.
Yep.
It's because these are all the places Noxus has already conquered.
So basically China, got it.
Though, when I say it like that, you may imagine Noxus brutally raiding everything.
Yep.
But that's not true. They like to absorb the surrounding nations into their empire. After all, it's just more human resources.
I'm telling you, straight up China. Noxus is straight up China.
Most of the time, they only remove the royalty and they let the leaderless people join their empire. And that's because Noxus values strength above all.
Yep.
And rulers tend to not be good fighters. This is what you can see in the After Victory cinematic. They kill the king because he was weak and let everyone else join them. Fun fact, conquering nations is so iconic for Noxus they have their own saying. Kill them until they are family. So when it comes to the quests in Noxus, it is most likely going to be helping the Empire expand its territory. Although this region has its own unique enemies too. Inside the Immortal Bastion, there is a cult known as the Black Rose. This
sneaky
cult
mages.
is connected to the darkest of magics.
Yep.
So be ready to fight hemomancers, witches, demons.
The problem is, if I want to play as an Noxian, whenever I'm creating a character and I'm choosing to be on the Noxus side, why do we need to kill those guys? I want to join them, you know? How do I join them?
And the Grey Legion,
Or
which
that,
is an
yeah.
army of soldiers revived with blood magic to fight for the Empire again. And when it comes to collecting 10 bear asses, here we have the native Drakehounds and Basilisks. Now, while Noxus and Demacia are the main rivals here, both of them are also constantly repelling raids from the north.
Oh, so basically, I'm telling you, straight up Game of Thrones vibes in here, no? We have the North, we have the Wildlings, who are casually raiding us. So for Elfjord, yeah, so we have three factions, or I'm kind of confused. Let's imagine we're gonna have Demacia and Noxus as two starting factions, as we have in the World of Warcraft, yeah. Horde and Alliance, that makes sense. But I want to play maybe as a Freljord, you know?
So now, let's have a look at the Freljord. Just like pretty much any region on Runeterra, Freljord has a long history. But for the purpose of this video, just know that the maddening old gods known as the Watchers of the Void, who want to devour the entire reality only because it keeps waking them up, once tried to breach into reality here.
I can relate to those guys, you know, brother. I'm just sleeping. Fuck off. I want to sleep, you know?
They almost succeeded because they tricked the Ice Witch Lysandra into helping them. Fortunately, she realized how wrong she was, and she managed to freeze half of the kingdom with the Watchers still beneath them. So these days, the Ice...
So hold up, so they are awake, they cannot sleep, and they are frozen. For centuries. Which makes sense when it comes down to Lysandra's amount of CC. Yeah, kinda makes sense.
Which is the only person holding back the end of reality by keeping the Watchers frozen.
So she's a good
At
guy.
some point in the future, you bet one of these woken up frozen Watchers is gonna be a raid boss. Now, when it comes to the NPCs, this is where things get diverse. First of all, remember that the Freljord is brutally cruel. Everything is frozen, and survival is everything. So the first enemy
Millennials,
here would
even
be
better.
the wildlife. From Rhymefangs to Yetis to Druvasks to Elnuks to Mammoths to the worst of them all, Poros.
There we go.
Next we are going to
Wanted
fight
to ask
the
about Poro.
Freljordians themselves. There are three main tribes here. The Avarosans, who are quite peaceful, the Winter's Claw, who are quite brutal, and the Frostguard, Lysandra's followers who hold back the Watchers. And let me tell you, these guys have some badass armor.
What is Volibear Gang? What is Volibear Gang, bro?
Among the notable tribes, there are also the Ursine,
There we go,
which
thank
are
you.
shamans who worship the Volibear, the primal god of the wild who slowly turns his worshippers into twisted animalistic monstrosities. Speaking of which, yes, there are also the primal gods of Freljord. And finally, we need to talk about the Iceborn. When the Watchers tried to arrive here, they tainted the ice around them.
Okay.
This special ice is called the True Ice. And it is so dangerous, you literally die if you touch it. However, the Watchers also tainted some people, giving them the ability to touch the ice. It is still extremely painful for them to hold a true ice weapon, but
Isn't that Ash's bow made of the thing, no? Or made of true ice? Her bow is made of true ice, no?
at least they can survive it. These people are known
yep,
as the
yep.
Iceborn. But people were not the only things that were tainted. There are also ice trolls,
My boys.
some of whom are also iceborn. To be honest, these guys were made to have their own dungeon. But there are also some animals that were twisted by the Watchers. And Lysandra is even twisting some beings herself to make them serve her. So overall, Freljord is gonna have a lot of cool warriors, shamans, and horrors. So these would be the three regions on the main continent. But this place is actually so big it can easily make the base world of the game. Especially since there are a bunch of smaller regions in between them. There is Nokmer.
Gragas Beer Bear is always called. That's a fair point. Yeah, that's a fair point. If you drop a cube of true shard ice, your beer is always called. That's kind of big brain. Yeah, that's kind of big brain. It uses true ice. Big brain Gragas. Straight up big brain Gragas.
Full of witches, Argent Mountains with their dragons, Tokugol with void monsters,
Void in the main area? What the fuck? I thought Void was the thing in Shrima, no?
Dalamore Plains with him, and so much more.
The
But from
general.
here, you can cleverly set up the expansions because of how well everything is interconnected.
Yep.
So now, let's have a look at the continent to the east called Ionia. Ionia has a very close connection to Noxus. You
And feeding.
can only guess why. It's because Noxians once tried to conquer it all during an event simply called the Invasion of Ionia.
Original
This
classic.
was a horrible war full of using children as soldiers because Noxians thought Ionians wouldn't fight back against children. And chemical weapons. Lots and lots of chemical weapons.
Noxus has no chill, brother. I want to play those guys. Jesus. Like, imagine playing that shit in an MMO. Where you have to be, where you are the bad guy. Actually the bad guy.
Speaking of which, remember Singed from Arcane?
Yep.
He's the guy who chemically devastated Ionia.
Good guy.
Eventually, Noxus failed, but they kept their small controlled territories. So the first quest here could be simply boarding a ship, sailing over, and exploring the place for the Noxian Empire. Now, when it comes to Ionia itself, the place gets mystical. Everything here is alive and connected to the spirit of nature. And I mean everything, from the animals to the people to the buildings.
Yeah, basically we could remember the Akali and Shen cinematic. Yeah, in the spirit realm everything is alive in there, everything is connected.
Everything is alive.
Yep.
So if you anger Mother Nature, your house can twist and strangle you in your sleep. So you can only imagine how Mother Nature fought against Noxians. Usually a river came alive to drown them. That's why all the buildings here look like they were woven from wood. It's because they were. With nature magic, people let nature build their houses.
What if, just what if, yeah? We throw a single match in there. Out of curiosity, what will happen? Just saying.
It also means that sometimes your house can just walk away. When it comes to the NPCs here, obviously there is gonna be a lot of nature spirits. And a lot more of simply mystical animals. From giant flying tigers to the never-ending story. But be ready to also face local Ionians, blade masters, shadow cultists, murderers, and ninjas. Both good, bad, and the in-between. But finally, there is also...
What do you mean in between? Do you want to tell me Karma is a ninja? No way. No way Karma is a ninja. She's Karma, you know?
But finally, there is also one more enemy that we could face.
Yasuo.
The furries.
What?
That's right. This
True,
race
okay,
is
okay.
known as Demacia. They are half humans and half magical animals. And yes, canonically, the species was born in exactly the way you are thinking.
We all know why our screenshot is chosen, yeah? We all know the reason. We already saw the numbers, yeah? Let's not dwell on it, yeah?
But to be fair, the Vastaya are quite cool and they are definitely gonna be a playable race.
Oh, that's so
Just
nice.
like Yordles, who also...
Pikachu. I'm gonna play Pikachu, change my fucking mind. Is that fucking Shifu? Bro, that's Pikachu, that's Shifu from Kung Fu Panda. On the Nimbus Cloud. That's my guy. That's my guy. That's what we're gonna do, bro. That's what we're gonna do.
like Ionia a lot. Lastly, after Noxians ravaged Mother Nature, demons started occupying all the places filled with misery and doubt. So that's gonna be a nice bonus enemy.
That was the enemy of Yasuo versus Yo, no? I think it had a couple of episodes. I haven't seen that. I think we need to see that.
So yes, the exploration of Ionia and the raid on the Shadow Order could be a really cool first expansion.
Zed did
But it's
nothing
definitely
wrong.
not Riot's only option, because we can also go south to Piltover and Zone. These
Well, we all know this area, yeah? We all seen Arcane. And Arcane, a couple of days ago, I think they won the Emmy Award, yeah, for the animated shenanigans.
are the
God bless.
ones people will know about, simply because
Arcane.
this is where Arcane took place.
Yep.
Piltover and Zone are two massive cities located one above the other. And they are so massive they could easily be turned into their own playable zones. They are both focusing on futuristic technology powered
Should I do that too? If you haven't seen Arcane, fuck yes.
up by magic of the Hextech gemstones. Using this magic, they can power up anything from guns to augmented limbs to vehicles. Visually, it is simply futuristic Victorian era. And unfortunately, there wouldn't
Steampunk.
be much of enemy variety.
Right?
We would likely fight the rich houses of Piltover and their deadly assassins, with the occasional thief on the streets, corrupt wardens, and
Nice.
the occasional rogue steam golem. But
Is that evil Blitzcrank? Looks like evil Blitzcrank.
things get a bit more interesting in the undercity known as Zone.
Yep.
Zone is the dirty underbelly covered in thick toxic smoke.
Basically Romania, brother. Everything is run by Mafia. If you don't have contacts, you are dead. If you don't have friends, you are dead.
Because the majority of people are poor here,
The top G country, yeah, the top G.
they developed a cheaper alternative to Hextech called Chemtech.
Chemtech.
This artificial green stuff can power up cheaper limb replacements, as well as highly unstable weaponry. Zone is also controlled by the Chem Barons, which are obviously gonna be the main enemy here.
The
But
top
on
Gs.
the side, we may
The
also
top
meet
Gs,
some
top lads.
chemical mutants, unstable constructs, as well as some mass murderers and people who hunt down mass murderers. And funnily enough, at the very bottom of Zone itself, there are the hidden ruins of an ancient city full of traps. That is obviously gonna be a cool dungeon.
Or a raid.
So yes, there is not much more that I can add here. Piltover and Zone were simply explored in Arcane.
Yep.
So if you like the series, you are gonna like this
Spoiler alert, that's a Warwick in the making. Though we are not sure if that's Vander.
place. From here, we can travel further south to Shrima.
There we go.
Shrima used to be a massive empire that ruled the world. But after the emperor got betrayed by his best friend, the entire empire collapsed. This region is a massive desert with the occasional city near a river. In the center of the region, there is the Sun Disk, a colossal piece of star metal that has the power to reflect celestial magic. The Shrimans use this celestial magic to turn their best soldiers into the Ascended, also known as the Golden God Warriors. However, these God Warriors wouldn't make a great enemy here. That's because after the Emperor had died, the Ascended started fighting for leadership. And slowly, after learning how to use blood magic to gain the edge, they morphed their own bodies and became the Darkin. Twisted, blood-frenzied monsters that would certainly make really cool raid bosses.
No, that's what I'm talking
Besides
about.
this ancient evil, Shrima is also full of its own animals, raiders, dune scavengers, and on top of all of that, void creatures.
Mommy?
That's because to the south, there used to be a kingdom known as Icathia that wanted to destroy the Shriman Empire. So, they asked the Watchers for help. You can imagine how that went. The Watchers sent through some void beasts that consumed Icathia and polluted Shrima to this day.
I mean, as long as it works, you know? As long as it works.
To fight back the void, Shrima does have a lot of hidden tombs around with hidden God Warrior weapons. Not to mention that Shrima also has a circle of time mages who are trying to freeze the void in time. Now, as I mentioned near the beginning of the video, even if Shrima becomes an expansion, they can still easily make Shrimans a playable race because
How?
they are already connected to Noxus.
No
As
shot.
you can see, of course, Noxus
Good guy Noxus, yeah, good guy Noxus. Literally boundaries everywhere.
already conquered part of Shrima. So some Shrimans are fighting for Noxus. Also, as a cool fact, for those of you who liked Arcane, Hex Crystals are harvested in Shrima. That's why a Shriman expansion would be a great follow-up to Piltover and Zone. And again, that's why Riot can easily turn only the northern continent into the base world. Anyway, going west from Shrima, we arrive at Mount Targon.
This is the mountain in which you get to climb to talk with the gods, as I remember. Yeah, and in the latest League of Legends cinematic, we have Pantheon climbing the shit, and then 1v1ing literally everyone.
This place is incredibly unique. First of all, this mountain is not natural. It was literally pulled up from the ground by celestial gods. And that's because this place serves as
I think Aurelian Sol is a celestial god now. Yeah, Aurelian Sol is a celestial god, and the celestial god who created the entire fucking universe has a 42% win ratio. Good job.
a portal to the celestial realm, also known as Targon Prime. Now, because this mountain was pulled up, it also has some unique features. For example, you may find frozen lakes frozen horizontally on the mountain.
Jesus.
And the very peak of the mountain is special too. Should a mortal reach the peak despite the brutal climate and the deadly wildlife, either they die from exhaustion, or the celestial gods deem them worthy and they become an ascended aspect. There is aspect of war, aspect of the sun, aspect of the moon, aspect of the twilight, aspect of the guardian.
Wait, you want to tell me Tariq made the climb? My boy Tariq actually made the climb? Okay, I'm fine with Pantheon, he's a Chad. Leona, Diana, so-so. Zoe, she's 1,000 years old, okay, makes sense. Tariq? Jesus, yes, Tariq made the climb. Chad Tariq. Jesus, Tariq is a Chanton.
And so on. Simply said, after people reach the peak, they become some of the strongest beings on the entire planet. So of course, the mountain is full of people who worship the celestial demigods. And I speculate this is where we could get a lot of cool armor sets.
True, that's
there
gonna
are
be so
the
badass.
Solari, who are devoted to the aspect of the sun. Then there are the rivals, the Lunari, who are devoted to the aspect of the moon. But also the tribe I assume will become a playable class, the Warriors of Rakor.
Nice.
Of course, besides just humans, Targon also has all sorts of furry Vastaya. Near the bottom of the mountain you may notice that the mountain is alive. But also there are Stellarcorns, a variety of mind-bending creatures, and loads of dragons. Speaking of which, remember that this place is linked to the Celestial Realm. So this is where we may also meet the star-forging celestial dragon Aurelian Soul, as well as all sorts of other celestial beings.
That's Baron. Hello, that's Baron. What is Baron celestial? No. Baron is a thing. Baron is a thing in Summoner's Rift, what do you mean?
A lot of these would make for interesting bosses. In fact, the ascension of Mount Targon would be a really cool raid. Next, on the other side of Shrima, there is Ishtal. This is a special place where people are mastering the elemental magic. They are using it for everything: fishing, smithing, walking, and this place is definitely gonna be saved for an expansion. Basically, remember when Icathian asked the Watchers for help?
Yep.
And then that happened?
Yep, shit
Ishtal
happened.
was their neighbor, and after they saw the...
Kiki? Kiki's from Ishtal, right? I thought she was from Shrima. Hey, the more you know.
Void devour an entire kingdom, they believed the Void would soon devour the entire world. So, using their elemental magic, Ishtal built massive walls of plants around their entire region, isolating themselves from the rest of the world. For 3,500 years, Ishtal stayed isolated.
She killed 9 of her sisters to become the queen. We're talking about Kiki? I mean, sure? Sure, she would fit in the Noxus, no? She would actually fit in the Noxus. Strength above all.
Believing that the world outside of their walls was devoured by the Void. But now, very recently, some mages found out that the world outside is completely fine. So now, the Ishtali mages are slowly revealing themselves. To be
completely fine. Have you seen Demacia full of races? Have you seen Noxus, literally savages? Have you seen Elfjords, 50-50 savages? Shrima, what's left of it at least turned into Darkens who are evil as fuck? Not sure about fine, not sure about that part.
To be honest, Ishtal is the most underdeveloped region in Runeterra. We know the region has a lot of hunting Vastaya, deadly plants and some elemental dragons, but most of the region is still a mystery to us. So at least here, Riot will have the freedom to try something new. But now, we'll leave the main continent to visit the last 2 regions. First of all, there is Bilgewater. If you like pirate adventures, this is gonna be your place. This is where we are going to explore inns and gambling dens.
Jesus, I imagine the cities are going to be so fucking beautiful. The pirate cities, the Bilgewater shenanigans are going to be so fucking beautiful, you know? Literally, from the Pirates of the Caribbean. What's the city? Shipwreck City, there we go, Shipwreck City, yeah, that was the one, Pirate City, yeah.
Even some local temples worshipping the god of motion, Nagake Boros. Here we are going to fight pirates and sea monsters, sea witches, sea Vastaya, maybe some demons. And possibly we'll side with Sarah Fortune to fight the king of the pirates, Gangplank.
No, I am joining Gangplank. My allegiance to the true pirate, yeah.
But there's a lot more here. Last year, Riot released their RPG, which was set in Bilgewater. So not only can we already explore this place in detail, but it even has a monster journal.
Oh, that's nice.
And at a quick glance, you can already see some...
Yeah, I don't know, somehow I managed to miss this game. Even though it's an RPG, I love RPGs, bro. I was a Diablo nerd. I still am on free time, occasionally. But now I'm playing WoW, you know? Speaking of WoW, are we...
Really cool bosses too. However, this place is also linked to the last place I want to show you today. The Shadow Isles.
Yep.
See, every year the horrors of the Shadow Isles lurk out. And Bilgewater just happens to be the closest place. So every year, Bilgewater is fighting the undead. Once upon a time, the Shadow Isles used to be the Blessed Isles, a rich place full of advanced magic. Long story short, there was a young asshole king who wanted to revive his dead queen. And in the process, he accidentally released dark necromantic magic.
And this is the reason why you don't simp, yeah. One of the main reasons why you should stop simping, yeah.
This magic destroyed the island and made it home for undeath. In the lore, this event is called the Ruination. And because the RPG is called The Ruined King, it may not be a surprise to you that you also get to explore the Shadow Isles there. And there they have anything you can imagine. Undead horrors creeping everywhere. And should we ever venture into these islands, I have no idea whom we're going to fight.
I imagine, considering the fact everyone is undead, everyone is evil, I feel like the holy magic is going to do some shenanigans here, you know? The first thing that comes to my mind is maybe Demacia. We're gonna have a bit of advantage in here, no? They're kinda okay-ish, except for the racism part.
The Ruined King who caused all of this is banished elsewhere. Thresh, who siphoned his magic after he was banished, also left the Isles. And even Hecarim, the most brutal soldier of them all, is currently around Demacia. So the Shadow Isles don't currently have a main baddie.
Imagine starting to level up in Demacia. Imagine you play as a Demacian, you level up, you're level 2, level 3. Literally just started the game, and then suddenly, Hecarim one-shots you out of nowhere. And then you continue killing the pigs, you know? This would be amazing.
So this is where Riot could push forward some of the side characters. Now, even though these have all been the regions that are currently set up on Runeterra, Riot has already confirmed that there is a new continent further to the east.
Level 999 Hecarim the Shadow Horde challenges to a duel. Nah, I don't think it's gonna be challenging to a duel. I don't think there's going to be a player. I think we need to see every single champ that we know in League of Legends as a part of the lore in here, like Blizzard did with Heroes of the Storm. Yeah, in Heroes of the Storm, you could have played a lot of different champs. Well, we call those champs, but in World of Warcraft, those are the leaders of your faction, the raid bosses and whatnot, no? The big tough guys. So basically, I don't think you'll be able to play as any of the champs that we have in League of Legends. You'll be creating your own new thing.
Currently, it is planned to be revealed in the upcoming Ruination Novel. And so far, we know that this new continent is where the Ruined King Viego is from. And this is also where he was banished at the end of his story. All we know about that place is that it is quite mystical. There are yet more dragons here, and in fact, Kamavor, which is the Ruined King's nation, has a lot of draconic armor. So should Riot run out of places to explore, don't worry, they can always make up more.
Yep.
But that's all I wanted to show you today. As someone who's been following the lore of League of Legends from the very beginning, I can tell you, I'm very confident the setting of Riot's MMO is gonna be great. Their incredible writers have been preparing the world for years now. And now, it's time to harvest the fruit. If you like this video, let me know in the comments below. Because right now, I still have 3 more topics that I could talk about in regards to the MMO. I especially want to talk about the potential raid bosses we can face.
Oh, I'd love to see
and
that.
the potential classes we could play.
Oh, that would be
and
so nice.
as someone who has collected an unholy amount of transmog, I would love to show you all the cool armor sets this universe has. But that's it for this video.
Also, for those of you who don't know, transmog is how do you want your armor to look like. So that's what we call in World of Warcraft. It's called transmog. So let's just say you have helm like that, like we have on Olaf right now, and you want it to look different, but keep the same stats. So that's what you do, transmog.
See you in 6 to 8 years when the MMO gets released.
6 to 8 years, brother. No. I don't plan on living that long. No. We need 2 years. I'll give you 2 years.